it a step further, I was thinking along if she's trying to still push this green new scam and go green and all that, that could also influence it. But I know this is one of those questions where it's kind of irrelevant, but it is an interesting thing to think about. You know, if candidate A or B wins, what would happen to the metals markets? So, what are
I
your
think
thoughts
I
on that?
think about that. I mean, I think if the current administration wins, we have no trust left on the planet. People will not trust us, nor will they respect us. So one could argue that it's very bearish for the dollar, very bullish for metals. I look at Trump and Vance, and I want them to win for a different reason. And I'll get to that in a moment. But you got JD Vance kind of echoing the knucklehead statements of Jared Bernstein, where he's saying, "Look, maybe being the world reserve currency isn't such a blessing. Maybe it's a problem." Well, that's what Jared Bernstein advocates for, losing the reserve status. You hear Trump talking about continuing the sanctions, and countries that move away from the dollar will sanction them, and sanction. You got to stop sanctioning the world. They talk about devaluing the dollar. Their own administration or their team is talking about devaluing the dollar. On the bullish side of things, if he wins, I wouldn't be surprised to see Judy Shelton as the head of the Fed. She's a gold bug. She's a gold advocate. She's talking about issuing 30-year bonds backed by gold to inspire confidence again in the U.S. instead of a debt-based, 30-year treasury. Who the hell would buy that right now? You peg it to gold and have it redeemable in gold, you might get a lot of attention. So, I mean, it's I don't know, pick your poison type of deal. But I want them to win because I'm sick and tired of these of the lawlessness in the cities. I'm sick and tired of open borders and the potential for massive problems. People need to think about that. I mean, 20 million people in illegally, maybe that's understated. If 5% want to do dumb things, that's a million people. That's a standing army. I'm sick and tired of you know people being valued less by merit and more by lifestyle. I'm sick and tired of woke. I'm sick and tired of all this stuff. And I liked it a lot better when I was a young kid, where you said, "Yes, sir, yes, ma'am." You held the door for a lady. You knew who a girl was. You knew who a boy was. There weren't boys playing girl sports or beating the shit out of a woman in the Olympics. I mean, we're so upside down. I can't stand it. Let alone the wokeness everywhere, the lawlessness, the elections. People are wondering, is it going to be fair this time? I know lots of people are wondering, is it going to be fair? Was it fair last time? I don't know. Whether or not you feel it was or it wasn't, a good portion of the world is questioning it. And same thing is true about the immigration problem. Same thing is true about the judicial system. Is it two-tiered? Is it fair? Is it not fair? The FBI. How stupid can the FBI and the Secret Service be as it relates to President Trump? Is it just gross incompetence, or is it so grossly incompetent that it was planned? I mean, these are things people are thinking. That's not just me saying it. And so this is stuff that never would have been thought or said of this country, ever. And that's why I would like to see some semblance of law and order, and maybe they can do that. But quite frankly, I think we've screwed the pooch so bad financially. We're so addicted to spending that we're destroying this country from the inside out by creating $1 trillion in debt every 100 days, 100,000 every second. That's unsustainable, and it's unacceptable. And for your children and mine, we are indebting them to servitude for their lives and their children. And it's unconscionable that we're doing this, kicking the can down the road. Look, in 2000, I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, I wanted to buy some metals, but my advisors they're talking me out of it. They said, "Look, in 2008 there was a collapse, but everything came back." And I'm like, it just goes to show how stupid people are. Yeah, it did come back, but would it have come back had the Fed not increased their balance sheet from 800 billion to 9 trillion? All of it, $8 trillion in buying bonds to suppress interest rates, to distort asset prices, make home prices go higher, your 401k go higher. Everything was distorted because the Fed came to the rescue. What would have happened had they not? Everything would have collapsed, and we would already be on our way to recovery on sounder footing. It's just like a fire in the forest. It's very sad to see the death and destruction, and it looks like it's the worst thing ever. You come back a year or two later, and it's never been healthier. That's Mother Nature's way of cleansing, and we didn't allow. We're messing with Mother Nature. by suppressing interest rates and letting these things get more and more coiled. It's like pushing a beach ball further and further and further down until it finally comes up and knocks your chin off because there's so much pressure. Well, that's kind of the way that I feel the economy is. And so I don't know which president would be better for gold or silver. I just think by a long shot, Trump and Vance would be better, at least in terms of going back to a semblance of law and order and removal of all of this chaos already. Where, when I was 19 years old, I was living in downtown Minneapolis in a really cool loft and walking from the bars, at 1 a.m. by myself home, not even giving it a second thought. I wouldn't do that with a 9mm handgun in my hand right now. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten, and in all of these major cities, and that's just wrong. So, and Governor Walz, he's the reason I left Minnesota. He's an idiot, and he destroyed the state. And you put him in along with Kamala, you have the most radical left nut job administration of all time. And I mean, ultimately, that probably would be better for my business, but far worse for the world we're all living in.
Yeah, that's a good point.